stick it to him, you would? Yeah. That'd be good here, Tyson. Yeah. That's good to hear. I'm glad. It's mainly more the
And we're live. All right. I'm going to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order on August 15, 2019. Welcome everybody who's here tonight. We're going to begin with a roll call. Vice Chairman Jay Otluski.
Present.
Secretary Brian Patterson.
Present.
Commissioner Sean Hutchinson.
Present.
Commissioner Linda Grice.
Present.
Commissioner Clay Alsop.
Present.
Commissioner Joanna Condi is absent. I must be missing somebody. Okay, who are you, I'm sorry? Tony Fighter. You're must be a new member of our.
New alternate member.
New alternate member. All right, well, I apologize here. So, present, right?
Present.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. All right, and Chair is present. So I'm going to start with an opening statement that we begin all meetings with. This commission is composed of Peoria citizens who have been appointed by the City Council to serve on the commission as a civic responsibility without compensation. Our duty is to study and review planning and zoning issues within the City of Peoria. The commission hears zoning cases, holds public hearings, or may conduct a study session on a topic. Decisions by the commission are forwarded as written recommendations to the City Council, who takes final action. All hearings are conducted in accordance with rules for procedures and Robert's Rules of Order. Each case will be called in the order in which it appears on the agenda unless otherwise announced during the meeting. In the interest of maintaining a fair and efficient hearing, the commission adheres to the following steps. Chair will open the case. City staff will then provide a brief report and recommendation. The applicant is then invited to give a presentation. Then any member of the public may provide testimony. Public testimony is limited to 3 minutes. When we call your name, please come up to the podium, provide your name and address. After all the testimony has been taken, we'll invite the applicant back up to provide any rebuttal or final statements. The commission will then discuss the case and make its decision. Anyone wishing to speak must complete a speaker's request form and hand it to the commission assistant on my far left. When providing testimony, we ask that you please be as brief as possible and avoid repeating statements already made by others. Any member of the public may appeal to the City Council the decision of the commission regarding a conditional use permit. The appeal must be submitted in writing to the Planning and Community Development Department within 15 calendar days of the date of the commission's decision. All commission recommendations on public hearing items, including general plan amendments, rezone, zoning code amendments, and special plans, move forward to a regular City Council meeting. The City Council will then act on the recommendation of the commission. The City Council may concur with the decision, modify it, overturn it, or remand it back to the commission for further consideration. We welcome citizens' comments, and as fellow citizens of Peoria, we thank you in advance for your participation. This is the final call to submit speaker request forms. If anyone wishes to speak, please fill out the speaker request form and provide it to Ms. Ernest at the end of the dais. All right, next item up for consideration is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is 4 items that are routine in nature or have been previously reviewed by the commission and will be enacted by one motion. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 1 item tonight. Yes, 1 item. And it's item 1C, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting held on June 20th, 2019. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments about any of the consent agenda item before us this evening? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's consent agenda item. Commissioners, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioners. We're going to move on to our regular agenda item, or regular agenda, excuse me. We have 3 items before us tonight. The first item is 2R, Francis & Sons Car Wash, conditional use permit CU18-10. This is a request to amend conditional use permit CU18-10 for the Francis & Sons Car Wash at 7934 West Thunderbird. The amendment will allow for the demolition of the existing quick lube bays and relocation of previously approved vacuums along 79th Avenue. Staff, would you please present your report?
Good evening, Chairman Nelson and Commissioners. My name is Jason Cleghorn. I'm the Community Development Coordinator in the Planning Department. As you said earlier, Conditional Use Permit 18-10 is submitted by John Riddell and Francis & Sons Car Wash. The location is at 7934 West Thunderbird Road. The site is approximately 2.14 acres. And as you stated earlier, they're requesting to amend the previously approved conditional use permit that was approved by this commission in February. That item had been on the consent agenda. As you said, they are asking permission through the conditional use permit to relocate the previously approved location of the vacuum stations that had been approved along 79th Avenue and move them to the sort of northwesterly portion of the site in the current location of the lubrication bays. The lube bays will be removed, and where the lube bay is now will be a row of 10 vacuum stations. This is the current site layout. No changes to the hours of operation. That will still be from 7 to 7. If you recall, or if you remember seeing the item in the agenda back in February, the previous approval would have removed 2 of the canopies on the gas fueling area. Because of the no longer needed to place the vacuums along 79th, they will be keeping the gas canopy as it currently exists. As I previously said, they're raising the lubrication bays and they're just locating the vacuum stations there. As you can see, this is the location where the new vacuum stations will be. That's where the lubrication bay will be raised and replaced by these stations. This is just to show, if you saw from the previous item in February, that was the former location. And as you saw in the previous slide, where they're locating them now. Staff finds that the proposal meets the conditional use permit standards of the zoning ordinance. And we find that when operated in accordance with the recommended conditions of approval, the modification of the use is not expected to disrupt other nearby uses and is consistent with the character of the area. Staff recommends that we approve case CU 18-10 subject to the conditions in your staff report. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Great, thank you for your report. Do any commissioners have any questions of staff regarding what you've just heard? Oh, okay, go ahead.
On this conditional use permit, is there a noise study that's done on the vacuums?
To the chair and Commissioner Grice, we didn't request them to do a noise study. Part of our analysis in the review of the application, the distance from an adjacent residential use, say to the east in the single-family residential, where the vacuums were previously going to be placed along 79th, and where the distance to where they will be placed now to residential zoning RM1 for Quail Run apartments or multifamily. Staff felt that because of the increased distance that would be, if I remember, it was about 90 feet from where the vacuums would have been before to the property line across 79th. And I believe it's around 125 feet to the property line for the RM1 zone property. So we didn't require them to do a noise study. Staff felt that the application through its hours of operation would be acceptable from the adjacent property's perspective.
No further questions? All right. You know, personally, I actually like this change. Was a little bit apprehensive, I'll admit, when we approved those vacuums along 79th, being so close to the neighbors there. So I think this will be actually a much better change. All right, well, I'm going to open up the public hearing now. Any commissioners, I'm sorry, open the public hearing. Is the applicant present tonight? Excuse me. Would you like to speak, sir? All right, appreciate that. Any commissioners have any questions of the applicant? I guess not. Thank you. May I ask, are you in agreement with the conditions and stipulations outlined in the staff report? Great, thank you. Ms. Ernst, have you received any speaker request forms on this item? All right, thank you. Seeing no further public comments, I'm going to adjourn this, close the public hearing. Do we have any further questions or comments from any commissioners before we take action on conditional use permit CU 18-10? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the KCU 18-10, subject to conditions in
Thank-
staff report.
Thank you, Commissioner Hutchinson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Atluski. We have a motion and a second on the table. Commissioners, would you please vote? And it passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. All right, next we're going to move on to item 3R. 3R is a project update on Plan Peoria 2040. Staff will provide us a briefing with possible discussion afterward regarding the city's ongoing efforts to update the Peoria General Plan. As I understand, no action will be taken at this time. Staff, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, you are smiling. Yes, it is Lori Deaver once more back in front of you with a general plan update. So just wanted to briefly, for those audience members who may see us online, we always like to do a little bit of education along with some new material for you this evening. So some new, some old, so bear with me if you would. Let's do a little General Plan 101. So the purpose of the General Plan is to establish the vision and the guidance for both current and future development within the city. 10 to 20 years out and beyond, so we're looking at a 2040 horizon. And so what I did this evening is to put up some quick facts because these are kind of notable with regard to Arizona. So in Arizona in general has had general plans in existence since the 1970s, and they primarily consisted of land use and circulation of those two elements. The major change to the general plan document in terms of format and content happened in the 1990s because of legislation called Growing Smart and Growing Smarter. What that did was enhance notification, and the number of topics that you needed to include increased based on the population size of either the municipality or the county at the time. And unique to Arizona, we do need to go out every 10 years to the voters to ratify a general plan. So we make a distinction in the general plan categories, a major amendment and a minor amendment. And why does that make a difference? We generally present minor amendments in front of you along with a rezoning case on a regular basis throughout the year. Major amendments, which is what Plan Peoria, Arizona is a part of, that's considered a major amendment. And you can only hear those one time of year. So if you miss it, congratulations, you go to next year. So that's why some of these dates are so important. The city is about 170,000+ strong, definitely above the 50,000 population threshold. So we have 17 topics that we need to talk about within the document itself. And in part of that, those regulations, what we call is a 60-day review. So any agency with an acronym, name the letters, approximately 50 of them, we sent out a notice that we were working on the general plan. They have the ability to review the general plan, make comments, and provide those comments to us within a set period of time. That is a requirement for every major amendment going forward. So those are just some quick facts to keep in mind. So in terms of, we've brought this before you a couple times now, which I appreciate the attention for sure. We've been working on this for a while, since about 2018 and even before then. So it's a multi-year update to get us to this where we're at, which is very exciting, which is this brand new kind of plan in front of you. It's still a larger effort because we need to go back out to the ballot in 2020. So we're working hard, we're making great progress. A couple of things to keep in mind. Again, what we're taking in front of you later on this year is during the 2019 general plan, the major amendment cycle. So this is the one time of year cycle that we would normally present to you. So if you look in the screen or on the screen over to the right in terms of process, A major general plan amendment kind of goes through this typical process. In this case, we have some public outreach. We're creating a draft amendment, which would be this document. We have that working draft that we send out to all the agencies, starting of that clock ticking on the 60-day review. We'll keep listening, and we gather those comments. We'll make a refinement to that document, and then we'll present that at the public hearing cycle, which will be later on this year. And we'll be back in front of you in October, not once, but twice for both meetings. That then goes to City Council for consideration during the same year. So what we're trying to do now is encapsulate as best as possible all of the changes and comments that we would like to incorporate now, but we're not done listening after this amendment is done. We're going to try to capture everything after that City Council vote, see what changes there may need to be made, and incorporate those before we go out on the ballot in 2020. So we're going to be continuing to talk about this throughout the cycle, or throughout the entire project life cycle. And so we're not done listening, we're not done refining. And so that's kind of one of the key points and takeaways at this point. So in terms of what we have within this lovely document, hopefully some of you have already started to download and provide comments to us. Some key deliverables is the reorganization of the document. So as I said, we did a fair amount of public outreach leading up until this point. Based on those community workshops, we came up with those 6 themes in front of you, and you'll see those tied throughout a number of the organization's documents throughout, including the council livability initiatives as well. From those 6 themes, from our community input, those created a total of 8 chapters, those 6 themes plus an introduction and what we call an implementation chapter. Because a plan is not as good as it can be unless you're going to put it into practice, which is why that last chapter. Another key item that we have is a refinement to the land use categories, and I think this is one of the most exciting components because we are, to a certain degree, simplifying what we have for categories, but we're creating flexibility and specificity within each of the categories that we have now. And based on those new land use categories, this has been a labor of love. We have a brand new land use map out for consideration right now. Some of the things that we've spent some time on in front of commission, and appreciate your feedback, updated goals and policies within the document. And so those are brand new and out for comment as well. And lastly, we can't forget, we always need to be in compliance with state statute. And state statute requires those 17 elements, but we're adding 5 for a total of 22. Because it's not a complete picture, a holistic look, unless we're looking at community wellness, economic development, the arts and culture, education, and everything that makes quality of life for the Peoria residents. So those are the key deliverables. In terms of key themes, as you read the document, we wanted to highlight this particular item as well. You're going to see woven throughout community wellness. Why is that important? Because if we are not looking at the community's wellness through healthy design or through the way that we're growing, that actually adds cost to the city in one form or the other. So it's actually in our best interest, in our residents' best interest, our businesses' best interest to look at community wellness. From a placemaking standpoint, Peoria wants to be known as a place of distinction. So we're incorporating those elements within the general plan document to start setting ourselves further apart from other locations. Fiscal sustainability, we heard this throughout in the community workshop. This is both being a steward of the finances, of the money that has been entrusted to us as a city government. It's also making sure that we're not outsourcing jobs, we're keeping our money closer to in town, so to speak. So are you spending your time in entertainment within Peoria, or are you going outside for it? Are you having to drive for your employment across town, or are you able to have a job relatively close by that you can work? And are you, it's kind of going back to that quality of life conversation. And we know we're not doing this alone. So one of the other key elements is building on strategic relationships. It's not only from our partners, our regional partners on maybe the transportation side. It could be our education partners as well. It can be partners throughout the community in various forms, agencies, neighborhood groups, et cetera. So that is also woven throughout is strategic relationship building. And then finally, we want to be resilient, adaptable, and forward-thinking. We want to be able to incorporate technology and innovation where it makes sense, and we want to do so in a meaningful manner. And so that's captured within the document as well. What you see on the right-hand side are basically the purpose statements in there as to how we lay out each chapter, what it tries to achieve, and how those themes kind of play into those individual elements. And I can't forget this graphic because it's one of Chris's favorites. And it's also one of the most important because we also, when we talk about the general plan, what does it mean to us as both a resident, as both a commissioner, and as both a city employee? So the general plan sets out the vision, the goals, and the policies in these themes. What you see on the outside, and I'll just pick in the orange for smart growth, the zoning ordinance, the design review manual. So those things may need to change based on what we have for the goals and the policies. We may need to revise our development standards. We may need to adjust our design criteria to meet those goals. So that has an impact on staff. That also has an impact on commission as to what you see in a project coming before you on a basis. What does it mean to the residents? Well, they may have more housing options down the road because they want a different lifestyle choice, and we provide that housing opportunity at the location that they need, perhaps closer to where they want to be, work, and play. So it's kind of a ripple effect. Looking at the other side on the economic prosperity, do we have the right jobs in place, the right businesses? And so if we have the right dollars coming into the city, that pays the bills, so to speak, that gets us trash cans, that gets us artwork, that gets us everything else associated. So it's kind of a domino effect, but it's all tied together. So throughout this entire document, start to finish, it does have an impact from both top level down to the individual resident on the day-to-day basis and in the business community itself. So we always want to remember that. Ooh, there we go. All right, so schedule. We're a little busy right now, and we want to come out and meet some people. So we've been doing updates to boards and commissions lately. Tonight is in front of Planning and Zoning Commission, but I would like to invite everybody who's listening to our next open house. We have two, 19th, 21st. It is this same information both nights, so you only need to attend one. First one on the 19th is closer to home, so to speak, at City Hall area. Then we're going to be moving up north to Cibola Vista, the Trailhead building. This information will be available online as well, and we're doing a social media push. We'll be back out to the public in September for another open house, September 9th, September 16th. We'll be answering questions. And then the 60-day review ends on September 16th. But again, that's kind of the official close, but we're not done listening at that point in time. We're going to be packaging up that final working draft, and we're back in front of you on October 3rd. That's going to be at Rio Vista, and you'll see that later. It needs to be a remote meeting, which is off-site, and that is because of state statute. It will be for public testimony only, no decision or no recommendation at that point in time. We'll come back in front of you on October 17th. Hopefully, you're not extremely tired of me talking general plan. I will be asking for a recommendation at that point in time, going to City Council on the 12th. And finally, a shameless plug, if you don't mind. If you go on the Peoria AZ government website, right in the middle of the web page, I would like to encourage everybody to click on the button where it says Learn More. You can download the draft of the document. You can look at the interactive map. You can make comments if you don't think it's the correct land use in the correct category. You can actually tell us. You can put a point on there and say, don't think so, I think you missed it, or yes, thank you. You also have the option of a feedback area where you can type in your name, provide your comments in that manner. So a lot of different ways that we want to hear from people, but we do want to do a kind of a shameless plug, if you don't mind, to go to the website, check it out, and we'd love to hear from people. And with that, I'd take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Deaver. Do we have any questions? None? Oh,
I was using the automated system, I don't know.
and I wasn't paying attention, so I apologize. Commissioner
anybody else on
Hutchinson. No, it's just you.
Thanks, Lori, appreciate the report. What, so if a member of the public makes a comment saying, I don't think this is right, or I would like to see it change, how are those comments handled? Are they like taken into consideration, or how, you know, I don't know how many comments you get. I mean, you know, in a city of almost 200,000, I'm sure you're getting at least, you know, 1,000 comments, 2,000 comments maybe, or 10,000 comments?
Commissioner Hutchinson, that is a great question. Thank you. No, we have not received 1,000 comments. We have not quite received 100 comments yet. We have received a number of those comments, and what we do is we have an errata sheet. Each comment is logged in. We will be providing a response that will be included in your packet so that you can see what comments were considered. They're always considered. What comments generated a change, and if we could not consider it at that point in time, depending on the nature of the comment, it is referred to other departments for consideration because it may impact what they're looking at doing. And we do ask if the resident or the business owner would like feedback, we provide a response to them even before the hearing at that point in time. So we do reach out and make contact. Comments to date have primarily been those. They've been asking for particular types of businesses in certain locations. We would not be able to accommodate that kind of request within the general plan document. However, that information is forwarded to somebody like our Economic Development Department for consideration down the road. We have received comments with regards to additions to perhaps the bike pathway. We'll take that under consideration and see if that is something that we feel is meaningful, or we may need to put that off for a period of time. So we're encapsulating those comments, we're writing them down, we're going to come up with a response if needed, but we'll for sure provide that information within your packet come October 3rd.
Yeah, it was going to be my next question. So are the comments made, whether by individuals or by organizations, are they of public record? Are they able to be searched and found, like, especially if an organization is taking a position?
Commissioner Hutchinson, yes, all of that information is public record. What we will do within the packet is any letters received by an agency, and typically, I'll give you for an example. In the 2018 cycle, we received a letter from Luke that was included in the packet for consideration. They did not oppose the amendments for last year, so that is included in your packet. What we typically do is redact any personal information for privacy reasons in that regard. But if there's any other comments, at that point in time, we also received from City of Phoenix. We did receive a couple of comments, and so those were provided in the packet. We do receive emails right now from our particular website. Those emails will be in your packet. We will redact any addresses, personal information in there, but you will see the comments as we are receiving them.
Okay. Did I reach my limit yet, or can I ask just one more?
You absolutely may.
Okay. So, and, you know, ironic timing, and it always happens like right at the tail end. So through the work that I've been going with, working through the Maricopa Workforce Board, Westmark has engaged us, and we're bringing concerns about the migration of workers out of the West Valley. I mean, the traffic, you know, the freeways, I mean, you could see it every day. I'm one of them. I have to go to, you know, into Phoenix to my own job. And they were engaging us for solutions, West Valley solutions. Obviously, Westmark is, you know, works on behalf of businesses here in the West Valley. And their take on things is really kind of where I've gone a lot with, you know, when the zoning attorneys come up and they talk about some big project, I ask them to work through or work with or find a way to hire construction workers or workers for whatever the business they're building, you know, from within the community. So the community members are building those buildings or working in those buildings eventually. So you know, I don't know if they've provided any commentary from Westmark to the general plan, but I know that they are, you know, obviously it's late in the game, but they are starting to engage, at least with the workforce boards, on finding solutions to stop the migration of workers out of our city. So it's not really a question, but that's just kind of a statement. I'm hoping that maybe in this final hour that we find a couple of solutions and engage with the workforce community and trying to keep people working in their community. So just kind of more of a statement than a question. That's all I have.
That's all?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Hutchinson. Just a quick question. So I attended one of the early study sessions, number 1 or 2. I think it was number 1. In fact, Commissioner Grice was there with me. Is there value in us going to 3 and 4 or 5 and 6, or are they all kind of modeled after each other, very similar, structured similar? Or is there new information that we maybe need to reattend?
So Chairman, it's a great question. I will preview, I won't give you the full picture. So each workshop, this particular workshop will be slightly different than what you were attending last time. We will be doing, we always do a brief education just because not a lot of people understand general plan. And so we want to keep reinforcing what it is and what it does. We're going to be doing a quick summary, kind of similar to what we did this evening, but a quick summary of the highlights of each individual chapter. We're going to talk about some of the goals and policies very quickly, very high-level approach to it. We're going to talk about the land use categories. And so just the presentation is a brief overview of the material to date, but we also turn it over. We have boards available, and we're going to be at those boards, and we're going to be answering questions that you may have. Land use categories, the circulation map, any of the boards and figures, and a copy of the plan will be available. So if they wanted to flip through it, they can, and ask us any questions. And that's primarily the focus of the open house, is to receive feedback from the members and the residents in the community. And did you want to add anything?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I think part of your question might have been is, because we have 4 community meetings scheduled, are they all kind of a similar format? And I believe they are, right, similar content?
They are similar content. So the 19th and the 21st, will have the same information. What may be different is the type of questions that the residents may ask that evening that we will not be able to capture, but the same information in the presentation will be the same. So it's just what kind of questions that we get. And we'll try to encapsulate that in the outreach summary that we provide to commission. So
Okay, so we'll see those, even if we don't attend.
correct.
Great, thank
Correct.
you. Thank you, Chris. Secretary Patterson, you have a question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lori, I know when you first started the project, you had an outside consultant helping you. Is that contract still ongoing, or has that been concluded?
Commissioner Patterson, they are continuing to work closely with us. You will see them at the open house. They would, if you are able to attend, they will be facilitating, if you will, the meeting, and they'll be on hand to help answer questions as well. So hopefully we're going to have a good turnout at that point. We're hoping. So.
All right. Thank you.
Last call. Do we have any other questions from Ms. Deaver or staff on the general plan update? Going once, going twice?
Thank you.
I guess we're good. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our next item, item 4R. This is a study session on an administrative relief text amendment. Staff's going to provide us a presentation with possible discussion afterward regarding a city-initiated amendment to Section 21-324, Administrative Relief of the zoning ordinance, as well as other applicable subsections. This item is for discussion only. No action will be taken at this time. Staff, please proceed with your presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Nelson, Commissioners. I'm Amanda Beck, planner with the city's planning department. As you said, tonight we'll be discussing a proposed text amendment, TA 19-02, which would be an update to the section of the ordinance 21-324, that's administrative relief. And this is purely informational. No action needs to be taken on agenda item for our staff anticipates that the case will come before you for public hearing hopefully next month. So I'd like to just give an overview of the city processes to approve minor deviations to property development standards that are available to property owners and how those processes have evolved, as well as give you a little bit of background tonight on the proposed text amendment text itself, and then close out tonight just touching on the public outreach that we've done with this particular case. So the table you see on screen before you gives an overview of the processes that a property owner can or could, in the case of one, use to make a deviation to their property development standards per their zoning district. Just to give a brief overview, a variance would be a literal deviation from the standards in the zoning ordinance when a strict interpretation of the text would cause an undue hardship. So usually that's related to an unusual circumstance that's related to the parcel, say topography, shape, other things such as that. So it's not something that happens often, which is why variants go to the Board of Adjustment. And then in the 90s, an application called minor variance was created via Ordinance 92-42. This allowed property owners to make a small variation to their property development standards, either listed in the ordinance or on a subdivision plat. The key language here being as shown in a recorded subdivision plat. Then in 2002, this was updated to try and give it more differentiation from the variance process. And then finally, another text amendment was done in 2003 that made minor variances into what we now know as administrative relief. And that just changed out how we look at it. Instead of saying it's a variance, it's a minor deviation to property development standards for residential properties only. So going back to that key part, the fact that it lists as shown in a recorded subdivision plat, that's an atypical language in our ordinance. It's an unusual interpretation, and it's unclear what circumstance exactly prompted it, but department leadership in the 90s did decide to adopt it. We have decided, after living for several years with this particular language, to amend the text to make it clearer and also to ensure that all properties are regulated the same within the city. Text Amendment TA 19-02 proposes to amend Section 21-324 Administrative Relief, as well as sections within the ordinance for variances and appeals to Board of Adjustment. So Text Amendment TA 19-02 would allow a property owner to request administrative relief for a modification of up to 10% to the front, side, or rear setback, and also 5% from the max lot coverage. By doing the amendment, we're also proposing an approval criteria for the planning manager. We are inserting noticing requirements, which was not previously something done, and then also an appeal criteria. So one of the chief aims with this text amendment is to ensure that every parcel is regulated by its zoning district, not by regulations that are listed on a plat of record, and to ensure that it's being treated the same as a parcel in the same zoning district in a different place in the city. Because admin relief is minor deviation, the scope doesn't go beyond setback or max lot coverage. Requests to deviate from any other requirement in the zoning ordinance would have to meet the requirements outlined for a variance. So, the public outreach we've done, while researching for this text amendment, what we found is that there are 9 subdivision plats particularly that have been held to more restrictive standards than other properties within the city because they had specific property development standards listed on the plat of record. Those neighborhoods are Bedford Village 1 and 2, Citrus Gardens Units 1 through 6, and Hunterfield Estates. We sent out over 370 postcards. 5 people came out to the open house, which was held on May 20th at Sunrise Mountain Library, all of who were from Citrus Garden Estates. At the open house, a particular resident made a request that the property development standards listed on her plat of record for her part of the neighborhood be enshrined. So she requested that the city look into feasibility of a city-initiated rezoning on behalf of the residents of Citrus Gardens to create a planned area development to make their zoning regulations consistent with what is shown on the plat. Through the years, property owners in Citrus Gardens and the other neighborhoods I mentioned have requested the city's permission to deviate from the limiting standards that are listed on their plat and be able to develop their property according to their zoning district regulations. Citrus Gardens has over 140 parcels across the different subdivision plats, and about just a little bit under 25% of those lots have requested either a minor variance when that was an application or the administrative relief process. So staff has been working with the city attorney's office, regarding that citizen request to get some legal guidance. As requested, a city-initiated zoning poses some challenges, particularly maintaining the status quo during a rezoning process. It's a long process, and getting Prop 207 waivers from 140 unique individuals and ensuring they all agree at the end of the process is a little bit challenging. Also, staff believes that the text amendment is the correct way to regulate properties within the city. We want to ensure that all properties are treated in the same manner, and they aren't held to more restrictive standards that are listed on a plat, which isn't a usual interpretation. So staff anticipates bringing the text amendment TA 19-02 before the commission next month, hopefully, and at which point we will hold public hearing and discussion. Mr. Chair, are there any questions I can answer?
Thank you for your report, Ms. Beck. Any commissioners have any questions on the presentation we just heard? Commissioner Alsop? Then Commissioner Grice will be next.
Yeah, I had a question. I may be misunderstanding, but what happens when, like, we go through a zoning change like we are right now? Is the property grandfathered into the original zoning when that person bought the house? I could see there, it would, over time, the zoning's going to change, yet the recorded plat is going to remain the same forever. Is there a grandfathering clause, or am I interpreting the implementation of that incorrectly?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Alsop, perhaps I can help with this question. So if the zoning on a piece of property changed, then the applicable standards would be whatever the new zoning category is. You know, this was a very tough case to present in talking with Amanda. I mean, it is kind of a convoluted element to this, but if I can maybe ask Amanda to go back a few slides, I'd like to just perhaps make a finer point on really the crux of this amendment here. When you look at a subdivision, a recorded subdivision plat, there was an atypical interpretation made in the 90s with respect to a handful of them, 9 to be exact. And if you look at the copy of this recorded plat, there's a diagram in the lower left-hand corner which says typical building standards. And so that's what the developer, that's the way they intended to develop but those aren't regulatory standards. That doesn't supplant whatever the underlying zoning requirements were that the council had adopted at the time. So what should have happened is, whatever your zoning is, those are the standards that we use to employ. But what happened in the 90s was, for whatever reason, we said for these 9 specific plats, we were going to honor what the typical diagram said on the plat instead of the underlying zoning. And what happened then was that it happened to be that these standards happened to be more restrictive than what the zoning allowed for. And so if somebody wanted to exercise their right under the zoning, they would come forward and put forward a administrative relief application to seek relief from that, when really what should have happened is we should have just employed the zoning, whatever the underlying zoning was. So this change, a major part of it will correct that anomaly going forward. All properties citywide will be treated the same. Whatever your zoning is, that's what your applicable standards are.
So if there's a conflict between the plat standards and the zoning standard, this correction would mean the zoning standard prevails.
Commissioner Alsap, yeah, the zoning standard should always be the applicable standard. That was the legislative action that took place with the council. What was shown on the recorded plat is just what the developer perhaps desired to do in some instances, but it did not create a new standard. And so the zone, whatever the zoning has, that's the standard that's in place.
So my understanding is the city council approves the plat in the first place. That's where I'm getting a little bit confused.
Commissioner Alsop, what the city council does is they approve zoning for property. That's a legislative action. They're taking action that says, okay, in approving the zoning, we have approved a set of standards for that property. The plat might come behind it and it will develop according to the zoning. But the approval of a plat is not a legislative action. Approval of zoning is a legislative action that creates the standard framework for it.
Okay, thank you.
So just to follow up on that, then, is the plat a private restriction?
Commissioner Grice, the plat doesn't create a private restriction. You know, in these cases, again, I think and we see these on the face of the plat all the time, where the developer is putting what a typical layout might look like. I think we've, in the last several years, actually had them remove these so we don't have confusion. But that's just what the typical scenario might end up being, but they always have the option to develop according to what their zoning allows them to do. But this is just what's perhaps intended or desired by the developer at that time. But it doesn't create a new standard.
Okay.
Okay, any other further questions? All right, very good. Thank you for your report. I appreciate it. We look forward to seeing this next month. All right, so that concludes 4R. The next item on our agenda is call to the public. Are there any comments from the public on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the next agenda item, and that's reports from staff. Staff, would you please present your report for tonight?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, before you on the screen are the upcoming meetings. I'd like to point out a couple things. September 5th, please do not come back to this particular council chamber. We would like to invite you to come down to visit us at the Development and Community Services Building within the Point of View Conference Room. We will be having a tour of the Traffic Management Center, among many other things. So Mr. Brandon, who is sitting very quietly at the end of the desk here, would be happy and honored if you would attend that meeting so that we can showcase the Traffic Management Center at that point in time. The other one, as I noted earlier, the general plan. So September 19th, we're back in here, but October 3rd, that is the remote meeting for the general plan, needs to be off-site. So I would invite you to come to the Rio Vista Recreation Center. We'll be in the Lakeview East Room, and we'll be sending out reminders to all of the location and venue changes.
I
So,
assume regular time start.
regular
for all these.
timeframes,
Okay.
yes. Thank you.
And if I can just add one thing, also on the 5th, there's a couple of interesting things we're going to be presenting. Not only are we going to be touring the Traffic Management Center, we're going to be talking about traffic impact analysis. I know that's been questions of the commission in the past. In addition to that, we're also going to be talking about open meeting law as well.
Oh, okay. Is one of us in trouble? Probably Sean, yeah. All right, very good. Any further items from staff? All right, very good. So next is the Planning and Zoning Commission updates and reports. Do any commissioners have any updates or current events to report? All right. Hearing and seeing none, I call this meeting adjourned. A little rusty.